Eret, son of Eret, was the man of my dreams.
But baby, I grew facial hair for you.
Me too.
Did you get her? Fishlegs!
Have you ever noticed the heroes in How to Train Your Dragon keep making the same mistake? It isn't because they're weak, it's because they're too loyal. Every major hero in this franchise has sacrificed something for someone they loved, and sometimes that loyalty almost destroyed everything. So today, we're looking at the hidden flaw behind the heroes of How to Train Your Dragon. They're too loyal. Snotlout Jorgensen.
Hiccup already killed a Night Fury, so does that disqualify him, or?
Where do I even start with this walking ego? That is Snotlout. He walks confidently through Berk, acting as if he created masculinity himself while desperately craving everyone's approval. The guy flexes harder than someone trying to impress a gym crush. And his loyalty? It's complicated. Snotlout would sell his grandmother for a compliment from Stoick, and I'm not entirely convinced he hasn't tried. He spends the first half of the franchise being so obsessed with proving himself that he forgets to actually be a decent human being.
Move into my parents' basement? You should come by sometime to work out. You look like you work out.
Dude, we get it. You have a dragon that's literally on fire. Calm down. His insecurity affects his loyalty because Snotlout doesn't just want friends, he desperately needs their approval. That means he'll follow people, chase recognition, and risk embarrassing himself just to feel like he belongs.
Can't miss! What's wrong, buddy? Got something in your eye?
Snotlout grew up in the shadow of Hiccup's eventual hero status, and behind all that chest thumping is someone terrified that nobody would notice him if he stopped performing. He's not loyal because he's noble. He's loyal because he's scared of being left behind. Look at him in the first movie. He's ready to throw Hiccup under the bus the moment he looks weak. But then, he matures. By Race to the Edge, he's taking actual risks for the group even when it terrifies him. He might complain louder than anyone, but he shows up when it counts. The fact that he stays with the Dragon Riders despite his constant need for external validation speaks volumes. By the end, Snotlout no longer fights for attention. He fights because these people finally became his family.
Welcome. You're welcome. You took on like 100 trappers, 1,000 trappers.
Fishlegs, Ingerman. But not every loyal warrior in Berk proves themselves by showing off. Some prove it by caring more than anyone else, and that's where Fishlegs comes in.
New species, remember? We actually don't know what he'll do.
My guy is basically the human equivalent of a dragon Wikipedia page. His brain contains every dragon fact ever discovered.
Only the single most important test to determine a dragon's reaction to eels.
But his courage usually arrives 5 seconds after his panic. Fishlegs would recite dragon facts to a dragon that's actively trying to eat him.
Stop it. Get some help.
Razor sharp serrated teeth that inject venom for pre-digestion. Prefers ambush attack.
Actually, the monstrous nightmare typically prefers sheep, so perhaps we could negotiate. Bro, just run. Sometimes his devotion feels less like a decision and more like the fear of losing the only place where he feels accepted. So, he often prioritizes others' safety over his own well-being to a self-destructive degree. Let's talk about the way he bonds with Meatlug. He literally says a dragon should be the last face you see at night and the first face you see in the morning.
It flew? It spun like a typhoon.
That's not kindness, that's codependency. He pours all his love into that Gronkle because it's safer than human relationships. And yet, in every major battle, Fishlegs is right there. He overcomes his fears and runs to help his friends despite being the most likely to freeze up. That's loyalty born from love, not obligation. That's where Fishlegs' loyalty becomes dangerous.
A simple
Plus
back.
11 stealth times 2.
The monstrous nightmare.
Firepower 15.
He cares so much about protecting his friends and dragons that he forgets his own safety. His biggest strength is also the reason he constantly puts himself last. Heather. Then we have someone whose loyalty is probably the hardest to earn in the entire franchise. Heather. Unlike the other riders, she doesn't start with a group of people who believe in her. She starts alone, surrounded by enemies, and unsure of who she can actually trust.
Gotcha. The Book of Dragons.
She's the mysterious wildcard who keeps everyone guessing. But underneath that confidence is someone who has spent years searching for a place where she belongs. And that's what makes Heather's loyalty different.
Hiccup, don't shoot!
She doesn't give it away easily. When we first meet her, Heather is forced into impossible choices because Alvin is holding her adoptive parents hostage. She isn't betraying the riders because she doesn't care about them. She's trapped between protecting the people she loves and trusting people she barely knows.
You have to trust me. When I get back to Outcast Island with that book, the wait will be...
It's one of the few times when loyalty becomes complicated because every choice means hurting someone. But once Heather finally discovers who is truly on her side, everything changes. She doesn't become loyal because she has to. She becomes loyal because she chooses to. And once she chooses someone, she goes all in. She risks everything to save her parents, helps the Dragon Riders escape Outcast Island, and proves that she isn't just someone looking for a place to belong. She's someone willing to fight for the people who gave her one.
I have to get back to Outcast Island.
Yeah, I bet you do.
You don't understand.
But that's also where Heather's loyalty becomes her weakness. Because after spending so long without anyone she could trust, the people she finally calls family become everything to her. She spent years learning who deserved her loyalty, but once she found them, she was willing to sacrifice almost anything to protect them.
Your dragon really is the most impressive.
Heather proves that loyalty doesn't always come from blindly following someone. Sometimes the strongest loyalty comes from someone who had every reason not to trust anyone, but still chose to stand beside the people who earned it.
I can't thank you enough. Especially you, Astrid. You put your...
Gobber the Belch. The moment Stoick decides to sail into danger, Gobber doesn't hesitate. He doesn't give a speech, he doesn't question the decision, he simply says he's going with his oldest friend. That's Gobber, a man who rarely talks about loyalty because he shows it every single day.
Need to make my mark.
Oh, you've made plenty of marks, all in the wrong places. Please, too many.
He is the grumpy uncle who complains about everything but would fight a literal dragon for you. And he has, multiple times. He'll spend 5 minutes complaining about a dragon, then spend 5 hours building the perfect saddle for one.
Supposed to be the generation that leads us into the future.
Gobber doesn't show affection with words, he shows it with a hammer. Pick a lane, old man. You either hate these dragons or you love them. He doesn't say much about his feelings, but his actions speak volumes. He's been Stoick's best friend forever. Gobber loved Stoick so much that questioning him almost felt like betraying him. And that's the danger of his loyalty. Sometimes the people we stand beside are the same people we need to challenge. And when Stoick dies, Gobber delivers the most heartbreaking eulogy we've ever heard.
They're the ones going crazy. The sooner he brings back that light fury, the better. Yeah.
His misplaced love isn't flashy. It's the backbone of Burke. Remember when Stoick was ready to sacrifice himself on the next island and Gobber immediately volunteered to join him? As his oldest friend, Gobber volunteered to do the same. That's not obsession. That's a willingness to die beside someone.
Truth is, you won't always be around to protect him. He's going to get out there again.
He's also the one who convinces Stoick to let Hiccup into dragon training in the first place. Gobber sees potential in Hiccup when everyone else sees failure. He mentors Hiccup, supports him, and never once wavers in his belief that the kid has something special. But that's also where Gobber's loyalty becomes a weakness. He respects Stoick so much that he sometimes struggles to challenge him, even when Stoick is wrong.
Slow down, Gobber. Let's get a search team on the ground.
Gobber's loyalty makes him dependable, but it also makes him slow to challenge the people he loves. Sometimes loyalty means standing beside someone, but Gobber has to learn that sometimes loyalty means telling them they're wrong.
A few minutes if I give that thing someone to hunt.
Then I can double that time.
Valka. What if protecting the people you love means leaving them behind? That's the impossible choice Valka spent 20 years living with. Valka enters the story like she owns the place, and honestly, it's hard not to respect her, but about what her trust cost her.
No, you were only a babe.
Valka spent 20 years away from her family because she believed protecting dragons meant protecting the people she loved. She convinced herself that staying away was the safest choice because Drago was hunting anyone who stood between him and the dragons. But the problem is, even a decision made out of love can still leave painful consequences behind.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Valka didn't lose her family because she stopped caring about them. She lost them because she convinced herself that distance was the same thing as protection. But what about Hiccup? What about Stoick? She convinced herself that leaving was an act of protection because admitting she had abandoned them was too painful. When she realizes she was wrong, she immediately apologizes and tries to make amends. She helps Hiccup and Toothless learn new skills. She fights against Drago, and she ultimately sacrifices her beloved sanctuary to protect the dragons.
He always said you'd become the strongest of them all. You have the heart of a chief and the soul of a dragon. Only you can bring our worlds together.
The moment Stoick dies, Valka steps up. She doesn't comfort Hiccup. Instead, she tells him he's the only one who can bring the worlds together. Her instinct is fierce but flawed. She loves dragons unconditionally, but she had to learn to love people again.
Oh, and look! He's your age!
It was believed that love for one family meant abandoning another. Dagur, the deranged. This is the same guy who once tried to destroy Berk, hunt Night Furies, and probably considered subtlety a weakness. So how does that person become one of Hiccup's most loyal allies?
An emperor! To Oswald! To Oswald! To Oswald!
Dagur starts as the franchise's biggest nightmare and ends up as the chaotic friend we never knew we needed. His character arc is wilder than a dragon ride. Dagur went from "I will murder you all" to "I will protect you all" so fast it gave us whiplash.
Amazing what a near-death experience in hours upon hours upon hours.
The guy was literally poisoning dragons and threatening to cut off people's legs, and now he's giving Hiccup pep talks. Make it make sense. A desperate need for connection fuels the man. He was a neglected kid who became a monster because he didn't know how to be anything else.
Ooh, tough one. Glad I'm not in your shoe.
When he finally finds his sister Heather and forms real friendships, he clings to them like a lifeline. Because Dagur has spent his entire life searching for someone to accept him, his loyalty becomes extreme. Once someone gives him a place to belong, he'll do anything to keep it. He treats it like a life raft, grabbing onto anyone who makes him feel wanted.
It's always a good day to strengthen my armada.
He's capable of horrifying violence. He tried to hunt down Night Furies, threw his own men into fires, and tried to enslave Toothless. But when he finds redemption, he goes all in. He betrays Vigo to free Heather, fights alongside the Riders, and actively works to atone for his crimes. Even after redemption, Dagur rarely stops to confront the damage he caused. Instead of processing his past, he throws himself completely into protecting the people he loves.
He's in a trap. Look, there. What are you? Hiccup! Just look!
That's not healing. That's a person putting his worst memories in a locked room and pretending they aren't there. He's still the same impulsive person who makes extreme choices. He picked a different side.
Dagur.
Correct! Dagur! That's who I trust. He's so trustworthy.
Stoick the Vast. Stoick spent his entire life trying to protect Berk. The tragedy is that the thing he loved most was also the thing stopping him from understanding his own son.
Every time you step outside, disaster falls. Winter is almost here, and I have an entire village to feed.
Stoick is every strict father who thinks he knows best. And honestly, he's the hardest one to roast because he actually shows the most growth. For a guy whose whole philosophy was kill all dragons. Funny enough, it took one Night Fury to undo decades of Viking tradition. It took Stoick forever to listen to Hiccup.
Thank you for saving my son.
And even then, it took a near-death experience for him to get it through his thick skull. Stoick wasn't a bad father. He was a good father trapped inside a bad idea. His love was always there. His understanding just arrived late. He was so committed to his worldview that he couldn't see his own son's brilliance.
Oh, no, Dad, no, please. Dad, please. I promise you can't win this one.
But once he finally gets it, he becomes the most supportive father in the franchise. Think about the scene where Stoick dives into the water to save Hiccup and then goes back for Toothless. This is the man who chained Toothless up hours earlier. His loyalty shifts from kill the dragon to protect my son and his dragon within the span of a battle.
Who kill without reason cannot be reasoned with.
Maybe.
When he dies saving Hiccup from Toothless, it's the ultimate act of devotion. He literally takes a plasma blast for his kid. Stoick was always about protecting his people. He had to learn that his people included dragons and that sometimes his son knew more than he did. Stoick's tragedy is that the thing he wanted to protect almost became the thing he destroyed. If Hiccup hadn't forced the issue, Stoick would have led his village into extinction. Astrid Hofferson, the girl who once saw Hiccup as the weakest Viking on Berk, eventually became the person standing beside him when the entire village turned against him.
What is the plan?
Astrid is the girl who could kill you with her bare hands and look good doing it. She's intimidating, she's brilliant, and she's perhaps the most complex hero in this whole lineup. Astrid went from, I'm gonna win no matter what, to, I'll follow Hiccup into literal fire with minimal in between. She didn't accept Hiccup's ideas, she adopted them as her own. The surprising thing about Astrid isn't that she follows Hiccup. It's that the girl who trusted nobody finally found someone worth trusting. She starts out doubting Hiccup, jealous of his sudden dragon skills and needing proof. But the moment she's taken for that flight on Toothless, her entire world view shatters. From that point on, she's all in. Look at how she stands by Hiccup when everyone else turns against him. When his secret is exposed, she's the one who reminds him that his compassion changed everything. She doesn't waver. She trusts him completely, even when it's dangerous. She becomes the person who challenges Hiccup while still standing beside him. She's willing to stay behind on Berk to protect them. She's the first person Stoick looks to regarding Hiccup, and he calls her his future daughter-in-law. Her loyalty creates deep, meaningful bonds. She sometimes loses herself in Hiccup's journey. She was the fiercest warrior on Berk, but in the later films and shows, she's often defined by her relationship with him. Astrid's loyalty makes her stronger, but it also creates the risk of making Hiccup's mission her entire identity.
Bravest, most stubborn, most determined knucklehead I know.
Toothless. Before Hiccup changed the world, one injured dragon changed him. And that dragon would prove that the strongest loyalty in the entire franchise doesn't come from control, it comes from choice. We can't talk about loyalty without talking about this beautiful, terrifying, murderous cat dragon. Toothless is the poster child for devotion. Toothless represents the purest kind that doesn't ask why. It simply acts. Toothless would burn down the entire world for Hiccup, and that's cute until you realize he almost did exactly that. He's a living weapon with the emotional regulation of a golden retriever. He'll love you, protect you, and then accidentally kill your dad because a bigger dragon told him to. Their bond started because they needed each other, but it survived because they chose each other. And once that bond formed, it became everything.
Trust me, relationships are nothing but pain and misery.
Toothless exists for Hiccup. Remember when Toothless escaped from the cove to save Hiccup from the monstrous nightmare? He risked capture and death because Hiccup was in danger? Or when he challenged a much bigger alpha to protect Hiccup? That's not bravery, that's absolute devotion. Hiccup himself says it.
Dragons, they are kind, amazing creatures that can bring people together.
This is what it is to earn a dragon's loyalty. Toothless is a dragon who doesn't need to be controlled. He chooses to follow Hiccup. When Drago's bewildered beast controls him, Toothless becomes a weapon against his own best friend. He kills Stoick because he literally can't resist the Alpha's power. Toothless proves that even the purest loyalty has a weakness. The more someone means to you, the easier it is for others to use that connection against you. Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III. And after exploring every kind of loyalty this world has to offer, we finally reached the person who changed what loyalty meant in the first place.
We'll kill dragons.
No, I'm really very extra sure that I won't.
The scrawny kid who changed the world. The guy who looked at the most feared dragon in existence and thought, I bet we could be friends. Hiccup's greatest weapon was never a dragon or a sword. It was his refusal to see anyone as disposable. He'll sacrifice everything for everyone. His safety, his position, his leg, his father's approval. Dude, you can't save everyone. You don't have to fix every problem. Sometimes, it's okay to take a break.
Elitist. No, save it for your girlfriend.
Hiccup's compassion is born from empathy. He sees dragons not as monsters, but as beings worthy of understanding. And once he commits to that vision, he never wavers, even when the entire world tells him he's wrong.
History has shown that we are the superior species. What if word of your misguided ideas were to spread? It would be the undoing of civilization.
Let's start with the obvious. He let Toothless go. That first moment in the cove when he had every reason to kill the wounded dragon, he chose compassion. He built a prosthetic tail so Toothless could fly. He risked his life to free him from the chains during the Red Death battle. The same compassion that saved Toothless eventually becomes the reason Hiccup carries everyone's problems on his shoulders.
So busy fighting for a world that I wanted, I didn't think about what you needed.
When the Alpha controls Toothless and kills Stoick, Hiccup's first reaction is anger and grief, but eventually he forgives. That's not loyalty, that's radical grace. Hiccup's devotion to Toothless sometimes makes him blind to other dangers. He's so focused on protecting his dragon that he underestimates enemies like Drago. Every hero in the story had loyalty, but Hiccup was the one who taught them what loyalty actually meant. It wasn't about sacrificing yourself until nothing was left. It was about trusting the people who stood beside you.
But we have our dragons!
Maybe that's why these heroes feel so real. None of them are perfect. Their loyalty is what makes them incredible, but it's also what forces them to make impossible choices. They care so much that sometimes saving everyone means losing a part of themselves. So who do you think was the most loyal hero in the franchise? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the next video on your screen.